If you're trying to lose fat, build muscle, or age healthily, your protein intake is important. Most people know they should be eating more protein, but they have no idea how much, when to eat it, or if protein powder even counts as real food. So, in the next 5 minutes, I'll break down everything you need to know about protein. Let's start with some common myths. Is eating too much protein dangerous? If you have normal functioning kidneys, no. This study followed resistance-trained men for a whole year, eating 2.5 up to 3.3 grams per kilogram of their body weight, which is a lot of protein, and they saw no harmful effects. Can you only digest and absorb 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal? 20 to 30 grams of protein is enough to fully stimulate muscle protein synthesis for most people, but somehow this got twisted into anything more than 20 to 30 grams of protein in a meal is just going to be wasted. But that's not how it works. Your body will digest and absorb all the protein that you eat at every meal, and it will be used in other bodily processes like keeping your immune system healthy, maintaining healthy hair, nails, and skin, repairing other tissues, or it might even be burned as energy. So if you do eat over 30 grams of protein in a meal, don't stress about it, it won't be wasted. Is whey protein even a real food? Whey protein is technically an ultra-processed food, so that must make it bad, right? Well, whey protein is actually a byproduct of the cheese making process. You have two proteins in milk, which are whey protein and casein. Enzymes are used to split the casein, which becomes the cheese curds, and then there's a liquid that comes off it, which is the liquid whey. This liquid whey is then processed, dried out into a powder, and packaged off for gym rats all over the world. So yes, protein powder is a real food. It's not just some chemical that's synthesized in a lab by scientists. So how much protein should you be eating? The current guidelines by the government are 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. But this is just the amount required to avoid deficiency. For optimal health, we should actually be eating more than this and aiming for 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of your body weight. If you're interested in losing fat or building muscle optimally, then you should be aiming for 1.6 to 2 grams per kilogram of your body weight or target body weight. So if you're 80 kilograms trying to get down to 70 kilograms, you would use 70 in this equation. So 70 times 1.6 to 2 would give you an ideal range between 110 and 140 grams of protein each day. Now that you have your total daily target to aim for, how should you split this up per meal? The most ideal situation would be splitting this up between 3 to 5 meals per day, aiming for 0.4 to 0.55 grams per kilogram of your body weight, which will likely put you somewhere between 25 to 50 grams of protein per meal. It doesn't matter if you don't split this intake up perfectly. The most important thing is that you're hitting your daily protein intake almost every day. You might have heard of something called the anabolic window, and this is the window around training where you have to get your protein in, otherwise you're going to lose out on gains. And people used to think this was 30 to 60 minutes after your training sessions. So after training, people would just be chugging their protein shakes in an effort to maximize their gains. Or if they missed this window, they'd feel like their training session was wasted and they were losing gains. But this window is much bigger than people used to think. If you eat a high protein meal 1 to 4 hours after your training session, you're going to be fine. And there won't be any negatives compared to eating that high protein meal within 1 hour of training. And this is how you can make sure that you're hitting your total daily goal. First of all, to set up your meals, you need to make sure that you have protein in mind at each meal and then build around this. Are you having chicken, beef, tofu, eggs, or dairy? Then you build around this with your carb source, fruit, veggies, or fats. Make sure you're including one of these high protein sources at every meal or snack, and you'll easily hit your protein intake. A lot of people struggle to get protein intake into their breakfast, and this leaves them with 60 plus grams of protein to reach at the end of the day. So if this is you, it's really important to front load your protein at the beginning of the day by having a really high protein breakfast and lunch. So this means you can get the majority of your protein intake out of the way in your first couple meals and not have to worry so much when it comes to dinner. Now, if you are really struggling to hit your protein intake through your diet naturally, you might want to look into supplements. I personally think a lot of protein powders taste like arse right now, so at the moment, I tend to go for unflavored, and I like to go for a whey protein isolate. If you notice that protein powders generally give you bloating, gas, or smelly farts, you might want to move to whey protein isolate. This is because it's more filtered and it has less lactose, so it's easier on your digestion. And having protein powder isn't a requirement to lose fat or build muscle. It should just be used as a tool if you're struggling to get your daily protein intake. Getting enough protein is important for fat loss, building muscle, and aging healthily. So make sure you're getting your 1.6 to 2 grams per kilogram of your target body weight per day, and splitting this into 3 to 5 meals where you're consuming roughly 20 to 40 grams of protein. And once you bring more focus to your protein intake at each meal, you'll easily hit your daily targets. If you want to know how to lose fat simply and keep it off for the long term, click here. And if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe for more content from me.